Roman, why'd you stop doing your band exercises when I hit record?
I didn't want to embarrass Gainz.
You're embarrassing them, not yourself, right?
Yeah, clearly.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're not embarrassing yourself, man. You got to showboat before you can't flow boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Yep.
I think you rock the Dago T or the A tank or the tank top, whatever you want to call it, the white tank. How many times? This is the second time in a row I think I caught you wearing this shirt like this.
No. I was decent last time, I think.
You're what?
I didn't have a chance to throw on my long sleeve.
Oh.
It's not super hot. It's actually really nice.
Isn't that the topic of the day? We're going to be talking about something like that. But it's I think it's 103 here today.
Dang. No, it's like 67 here. It's beautiful.
I don't think 103 is bad. I mean, I was grilling yesterday at like 102 degrees. So I don't know what the heat combined with the grill and the temperature, but it was fine. I was sweating just a little bit. I was like on the phone too with my brother, and like I was just like trying to cook steaks. I was trying to watch the playoff game and like sit in the heat, and then yeah.
You enjoying the Celtics right now?
No, not really. I'm not really a big Celtics guy. Being a Lakers and a Bulls fan, I don't think it's not in my religion to be a Celtics fan.
Yeah, that's true.
I would only root for him because you're a Celtics fan. That's the only way I'd root for him.
Yeah, I've been bad though. I've only caught like the highlights. I've wanted to go and like go to like a bar and like watch the game, but one of it was like we tried to set it up. He was just like totally exhausted, so didn't work out.
And you're not allowed in bars anymore?
Yeah, I actually have been kicked out of a single bar in town.
Too many bar fights?
I danced too hard.
Ooh! They had to renovate their dance floor because you ripped a hole in the floor from just dancing too much.
There's like rivets in the floor.
Rivets? I didn't know rivets for wood flooring is a thing. I thought rivets on like the grass is like a thing.
It's also an onomatopoeia for a frog.
Interesting. The more you know. We might as well change the podcast called The More You Know.
Yeah.
Which I think that is already a podcast that's out, The More You Know.
Well, somebody did try to steal Gainz' podcast.
Yeah, you know what? Mark Lobiner tried stealing it. And also that one guy, the guy who always used to yell at the camera with the headband on. Robert. No, his name's like Rob some or Robert some. No, it's a guy that's remember he's always yelling at the car and he's got like the like motorcycle headband and
Bassmaster.
Who?
Ed Bassmaster.
No, not him either. Not him. The guy who just the guy who just got that he had like emergency surgery where he had to get a bag like implanted into his stomach.
Bag that sucks.
Yeah, I think it's kind of temporary though, but it is that guy. He was like openly about being on the juice, and I think he was on Bradley Martin's like podcast too. I'll have to update you guys. I don't remember, and I'm so bad when it comes to like Instagram accounts and like names and stuff because I don't really remember half the stuff I would look at. So. But Roman, what's going on with you, buddy? How's everything going for you, buddy?
Good, really good. This was like an unintentional deload week for me. I guess I've just been busy after work. Like I'll usually get to the gym with my brother, or we'll like work out in the basement type dealio. But he had like stuff to do after work, and I was like, yeah, I'll come. Blah blah blah. And like seemingly like creeping up. So I set up the pull-up bar, so I might do some pull-ups and then just some push-ups because I'm kind of past due on my my chest and back workout, and then if he gets back in time, then I'll just do like shoulders and arms with him. But what I've been doing, and I'm gonna carry this forward because I think that it is making that I am seeing gains. I'm a little flat right now, but just because I guess I've also kind of been unintentionally cutting, just with like my meals that I've been consuming. So like my estimated carbs are pretty low, which is fine because I did want to be between like 165 for race day, which I probably hover between like 162 and 163. It's kind of a shitty scale that I use at my brother's house, but it's
coming up.
Yeah, next not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yeah, baby.
So I'll spend like the weekend and like all of the week just kind of like carbing up. I'll bring my carbs up to like 400 or 500 grams per day, and I'll just stay at like maintenance. I'm in like surplus, whatever. I don't care, but just so that I'm like nice and full and primed for the event. But it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Dude, we can't wait to see it, man. I wish I can give you like my GoPro so you can like strap it to your chest to like get a video going. Because I don't know if you've seen it on my YouTube channel. I did like edit it like the Warrior Dash that I did.
I'll have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, and I strapped it to my chest, I think it was.
Okay.
And or maybe like I carried it from some portion, but I'm pretty sure I like strapped it to my chest for one of the races I did.
So strap on action.
Yeah. Well, also too, it probably got pretty dirty that day, but it's waterproof, so like you could just easily wash it off. But I'm thinking about bringing it for the marathon to record for that, just to like have like some like video reference, and like maybe I'll edit a video, like kind of like going over like what I did to prepare for it, and like the race itself, and then like how I feel afterwards type deal. So I don't know.
You're projecting to do it under 4 hours, aren't you?
I'd say close to 4 hours. I'm gonna say it's gonna be over.
Yeah, you're right. My math is wrong. Just over, I think, is where you're projecting.
Yeah,
but that's still your first marathon.
Yeah, I think the half marathon was just over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 5 minutes. So I'm gonna guess with like fatigue and stuff, it's gonna probably be closer to like 4.5.
Yeah, fair enough.
It depends. It's like hard to like pinpoint what's gonna happen. Like obviously I'm hoping for the best, and I'm training like full bore for this thing instead of like half-assing it. But see, the thing is, I'm running with my brother and sister-in-law, so I don't know. Depending on their conditioning, I don't know if I'm gonna be by myself or with them. Because in my opinion, I think if I go by myself, I'll probably finish faster. Not to knock on them at all. I just think like when you're by yourself, you kind of just have like less things to worry about, like people going to the bathroom, like, hey, let's take a picture, let's take a video, like stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna play it by ear. I might try to just do it by myself, but it's like one of those things where it's like it'd be pretty fun to finish the race with like my brother and sister-in-law at the same time. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about that stuff. I still have like 200 days.
Yeah. You get time.
Yeah, and I did 15 miles. So I'm way ahead of like training for it, in my opinion. But like I was saying, I'd rather be more prepared than underprepared type deal.
When is it? Like January of next year?
January 8th of 2023.
Damn.
Yeah, and also too, what I've been doing is training like specifically like because it's at 5 a.m. On January 8th. So like this week I was able to get out by like 6:10 a.m. Like I'm gonna keep slowly because like the week before it was like 6:30, 6:40. So I'm gonna keep pushing it back and back. So like eventually I might probably wake up at like 4 in the morning, or even like 3:45 in the morning, and then like take an hour and try to leave by like 5 a.m. and try to just do it at the same time. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I want to make sure I'm prepared at all levels.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. The one thing to consider is it's 3 hours ahead because it's in, right?
Well, I'll be in Chicago by September, October.
No,
so
it's
1 hour. 1 hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would say by like by June 20th, whatever, like the what do they call it? The summer solstice. See if you can get out like close to sunrise. Obviously, like it's way out, but it's just like I think it's more like a mental prep type thing. Actually, it doesn't matter. Do
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, honestly, it's been fine. Like towards the end of it, it's just, I mean, I don't know how it is running in the summertime in Florida, but it's just like even if I wait any longer, it's just gonna get more and more brutal. Like this, like, cause like I was saying before, like I don't think anyone realizes, but like Arizona has zero cloud coverage and like zero shade. So like I'm fighting to run around places where there's even shade to run by. So like to be honest, like even if I start at like 4:30 in the morning, like I wouldn't be too mad about it. Because the fact that I just don't want to I don't want to run in the like the direct sunlight, and like even getting out at 6:10 in the morning, like it was almost already above it was almost above head level. So
Yeah, dang.
yeah. But you know what? I've been wearing I just wear a hat, and then I'll wear a t-shirt and shorts. Still trying to play around. I know a lot of runners wear sunglasses. I'm a big, like Roman will say probably the same thing. I'm a big proponent of not wearing sunglasses. I don't like wearing sunglasses, and I think our eyes will benefit more in the longevity sense to not wear sunglasses. That's why I wear a hat maybe, because it takes the sun out of my eyes enough where I don't need sunglasses, and it makes my eyes stronger. Eye training 101.
Maybe.
I might be onto something, Roman. All I gotta say is the people out there wearing sunglasses all day, I know once they take those sunglasses off, or if they drop their sunglasses, they're screwed. You know, it's like the sun's like the brightest resource to them, and they can't even see. Yeah, it's like they're a vampire. My eyes.
That's actually something I've never researched for ocular hypertrophy. I wonder if that's like actually a thing.
I think it is. It's kind of like I think everything's a training modality. Like I thought at first when I was running for this training for the marathon, I thought like it was gonna be the hardest thing ever. And then like you break it down like you do with lifting and like eating and preparing for things. It's like it's not that difficult. The only thing that sucks is like I said, the only thing that was bad this time was I tied my shoes too tight, because I don't have really like shoelaces. I have like these things where you pull and then you adjust like the adjuster, and my right foot, I must have did my right one way too tight, and like I could feel like when I put shoes on, the top of my foot like hurts because it felt like it was like a corset on my foot pretty much. But anyways, back to so we can take the second half of talking about what we want to talk about. Let's stop talking about that. Roman, what the heck are we talking about today, buddy?
Yeah, we're talking about heat and cold adaptations.
Hey now. And you know what though? It's crazy. I actually was talking to some person that just moved from California to Arizona, because the one annoying thing I always hear about people in Arizona, it's like, I'm scared to live in Arizona because of the summers. And I'm like, well, if you spend enough time out there, you get the training of being in the heat. It's no big deal. And Roman, in a technical sense, how would you consider or define the two objectives that we're trying to talk about too? Because I know I said it in like a quick sentence, but what would you say on that?
So I think what we wanted to focus on is like derived from like heat, direct exposure. So I want to say most saunas are set to like 104 is like a low point for like a steam room actually. Saunas are like 110 to 100. But I've heard people.
Yeah, I've seen higher. I don't know if the thermostats are broken, but I've seen like 140.
Yeah. That might be the low point actually for a sauna. And I've also heard some like crazy people like I can't think of his name right now, but his wife is like Gabby something. They both are like wicked big surfers. I think in Hawaii, maybe in California. So bad I can't think of their names right now. Anywho, I think he puts his sauna up to 210, and he has to wear a oven, and he'll bike in a sauna. I can't think of his name right now. What the frick? If I think of it, I'll tag it in the our IG post or something about this podcast. But he's kind of a crazy man. So that's probably like close to the upper limit that you could do. Most people probably wouldn't be able to sustain that for more than like a minute or two before they needed to get out.
Or you could be like Kramer and then sit in the sauna and say, guys, it's hotter than a sauna in here.
So that's what I would define as like
heat adaptation.
Yeah, the exposure needed for developing heat adaptations. And one like super fascinating and interesting person to like look into if you're like curious about this kind of thing is Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She has so much on her YouTube channel. It's Found My Fitness about heat adaptations and like the benefits of sauna, for example. I do think that some things are like a little overly stated. Like, I actually don't think that you can increase recovery rates using either sauna or cold immersion therapy. I think actually cold immersion therapy is worse than sauna at at recovery.
Yeah, I think, and also too on the recovery aspect, I don't know if you're gonna say it, but like, I think it's over the top to say like injury recovery, you would be able to recover faster in the sauna, which it kind of amazes me that like that would be thrown in there, but keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, but just because like from a recovery standpoint, it's not optimal, doesn't mean that doesn't have benefits. Like for example, like heat therapy or like heat exposure therapy or like hot or heat adaptations are like extremely important. For example, I used to think this was like foo-foo science, but then like I looked more into it and like I kind of understood it more, or I developed an understanding better. But like heat shock proteins and all that kind of thing, I was like, how does your body develop these proteins? But these are like proteins, or like I think another good way to think about this, but I could be mistaken. So default to Rhonda Patrick on this, because she's like the foremost expert on it. Is there like, it's good to think of them as like an enzyme that are activated by heat exposure. And one of the cool things that they do is they act as like these organelle machinery in your cells, and they just kind of like, they're activated by heat. They go around, they find other proteins and other organelles that have potentially gotten out of conformation, and they're able to put them back into like their proper conformation so that they can perform their functions. So it's a good like quote unquote anti-aging practice.
And like a short sum up of that is like preventing muscle damage too, right? You'd say?
No, so that's the thing about like recovery. I don't think it actually helps with recovery. So like one way to think about it is, I think this is just like my own personal hypothesis, but I think that if you think about the human body as like a series of like electronics, for example, we operate off of these electric impulses, right? So you want to move your hand, like your brain sends a message like down your spinal column, like into your arm, and it says like, okay, innervate muscles so that I can like make a fist, for example. Well, when we look at like electronics and what their functioning range is, it's usually actually pretty tight of a range. So it might be like anywhere between like 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit for the low point, and then it might be upwards of like 100, 110, like just over that for like its optimal function. And then you actually get some like deleterious effects of that, like that electronic, like whatever it is, like your iPhone, for example. Like your iPhone might start to like freak out if you're in a sauna for like long enough, for example, if it overheats. Like the best example I have is if I have my phone and I'm using GPS when I'm driving on like a hot summer day, down as opposed to like the AC blasting, for example, and it's like not super powerful in my old Mazda, then my phone will like, it'll pop up with a warning and it'll say like phone overheating. I'm sure you've seen that before. And the same thing will happen if it's too cold. Like if you're outside and you're trying to call an Uber, you're outside calling the Uber and it's like 10 degrees Fahrenheit, your phone will like just turn off, or it'll say like, can't function, or the battery life will just like decrease precipitously. And that's because like electronics do not function outside of those like normal temperature ranges. And I think similarly, like with humans, like you can't create as powerful of a fist if it's like sub 32 degrees Fahrenheit, especially as you increase your exposure, like your time period, I mean. So that's just like a hypothesis I've like messing with for a while. So maybe for some people they could experience some sort of like potential recovery, but I would say that like it's likely that what the sauna is possibly doing is might be helping somebody's like sleep, helping to regulate somebody's sleep cycle, for example, which allows them to recover faster. But I wouldn't attribute it directly to sauna. So I actually don't think that like heat exposure, prolonged heat exposure, as well as prolonged like cold immersion therapy are a benefit to recovery. I think they can actually be contraindicated. Is like, I guess, like my opinion based off of that hypothesis that I have. But there is some evidence, one person to like look into, to like learn about like the quote unquote science, to at least cold immersion therapy as not potentially being a bonus or a benefit to recovery is Aaron Horschig, that's Squat University on Instagram. So he talks about how like the RICE method, which is rest, ice compression, and elevation, is like an outdated modality for recovery. What we actually want to do is we want to sometimes rest like directly after an injury, but sometimes we want to get like a little bit of light movement and light loading into it to see what our tolerances are. We want to make sure that like our nutrition is on point, and we want to make sure we get adequate rest. So sleep, because sleep is going to be extremely important and potent for recovery. That, and you keep your stress levels low, and whenever you can, you hit that cycle again of like exposure to load. That's the only thing that's going to be able to speed up your recovery. And you're not really able to speed it up, although you might be able to kind of like work on the margins a little bit.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I'm glad you kind of went into that too, because like I've been going in the sauna since probably like probably like 6-7 years, and like I never went in there and thought like, you know, like, oh man, I just hit a big deadlift session, like my low back's definitely not going to feel anything tomorrow morning. It's definitely not like that. The biggest thing, like what I would say that was pretty cool about like the like couple podcasts and like the stuff I read about when it comes to like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, was when she was mentioning like for older adults and like people who are injured / like, you know, can't do a lot of cardio. I think the heat is really good for like cardiovascular benefits, and it also helps people get into that mode where they're almost like touching like max beats per minute. But see, the thing is, like, if you think about it, like how many 70 or 80-year-old people, like not as healthy, I would say, are getting to like, you know, 100 beats per minute, 120 beats per minute. You don't see that a lot. So within the sauna, if you ever been in the sauna or if you haven't, you'll notice like right away. I don't wear my Apple Watch in there. Maybe I should, but I kind of have an idea within my body, like obviously when they get out of the sauna. But if you like bring in like a heart rate monitor, a fitness watch, all that good stuff, you could kind of see your heart rate going up higher and higher the longer you stay in the sauna. It's because the heat is getting to your body, and your body's like, oh crap, like I need to start pumping more blood. I need to start like activating those parts of my body where it's like almost kind of imitating like you riding a bike really fast, you running really fast, you you know, exercising really fast, maybe you doing like pyrometrics, like, you know, maybe it's like, you know, something like that. So I think that's like the biggest takeaway, because like someone like my father, he's physically disabled, and like he's not supposed to do a lot of that stuff, but if he took advantage of like going in the sauna, like he could get a lot of benefits and like get a little bit more healthier, get better in shape when it comes to like the cardio side of things, because he can't go out there and run. He can't go out there and ride a bike really fast because he's, under doctor's watch, where it's like, he can't do most of that stuff because he'll injure himself even more. And like the whole point is not to injure yourself more, it's hopefully to get you a little bit healthier so you can move better, sleep better, and do more things within life. What the heck? What else is gonna say?
Yeah, your dad.
Oh, go ahead.
Would probably have, this is like a niche example, but your dad would probably have to do it like in a clinical setting.
Yeah, exactly.
He would probably need to be like under like a doctor's supervision, and like they'd have to watch him like very, very closely, because as his like you totally hit the nail on the head. The metabolic benefits that you can get from sauna exposure is like quite considerable. And I don't want to just talk about like the downside. I just area that's like focused on like what my like little whatever monologue or whatnot. That was just like more a word to the wise to like bodybuilders, for example. So I wouldn't think about like heat exposure from a recovery perspective. Think about it for like potential metabolic health, because that could benefit your bodybuilding, right? Because if you have like Smith squats or like let's say like leg press to like 20 plus reps, like that's gonna tax your cardiorespiratory system. Like you're gonna need to be in a good like metabolic health like standpoint. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to get through that set. Even if like your legs aren't tired, you might be like out of breath by like rep 12, and you might still have like 8 reps in the tank. So for metabolic reasons, cardiorespiratory health, like absolutely, like sauna exposure is like super important. And like the mental health benefits are like extremely tangible. There's like some good evidence that suggests like that people that have like mental health illness, that they benefit greatly from increasing their sauna exposure. So for example, I think, and like once again, Rhonda Patrick, great resource for this. As you increase from like 1 day per week up to like 3 to 4 days, and then to like 6 to 7, you see like a continual incline or increase in the efficaciousness or the effectiveness of the use of sauna. And then a third bit to throw in there is the potential for the anti-aging process based off of like the activation of heat shock proteins, like all these other like potential metabolic pathways that run.
Yeah, and she was saying about like, people would genetically, like with dementia and Alzheimer's too, that can benefit, like you were saying, like starting off like 3-4 days a week and then slowly increasing. That they said that there were studies on, kind of delaying the process, like maybe it's kind of like within the medical standpoint, it's like it's not going to cure it completely, probably, but if it could delay it for like X amount of years, like that's probably better than nothing, right? It's like, would you rather have some like dementia at like 70 years old or maybe 80 years old? I mean, if it was me, I'd say 80 years old, because I definitely would love to be like mentally there for like my family and friends, and myself, because that's probably a scary thing to have. But like, like if that's one thing that can help, it's kind of like, that's why we preach like fitness altogether, because it's like there's so much out there to like, prepare yourself and better yourself every day. And if you're doing most of the stuff right, like, the world is yours. It's really nice to have that. And we talked about it on like the aging episode, like if you do a lot of things like right and appropriately and like not too demanding, then you could reap the benefits for a long time and be totally fine at an old age.
Agreed.
And then the only I did want to throw this in there, for our male listeners out there. Andrew Huberman, I think, talked about this, and Rhonda Patrick, is guys, if you're trying to have a baby, don't go in the sauna so much, because it's not good to warm up those testes so much, and it will help. It won't help like production of like sperm quality and semen quality. So I had to throw it in there for all the guy listeners, buddy. Like that's if you're not seeing any results if you're trying to have kids, like maybe not go in the sauna too much or the hot tub. But
yeah, it reminds me of Seinfeld.
Oh, the boxers episode? Are you talking about?
No. Don't they have like they have an, oh yeah, the boxers versus briefs.
Where Kramer at the end was like, "I'm free, Jerry. They're free." And he goes, "What do you mean you're free? They're free." He goes, "I'm wearing nothing underneath." And then Jerry goes, "Oh my gosh." He like freaks out about it because Jerry's like so like I don't know. He's like not open about that stuff. I feel like so it's like it always freaks him out. So because
Yeah.
Kramer's like wide open.
Definitely more reserved. But real quick on cold immersion therapy, because I know there's like a lot of talk right now, and like I've even heard like top athletes like proclaim this. So obviously somebody's telling them this, right? Like the latest example is I heard Joe Burrow, the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. So Joe, if this gets to you, good luck this year. I hope my Pats crush you if we see you in the playoffs or whatever. But good luck to you. It was really fun seeing you last year. But cold immersion therapy will not help with your recovery. It will not help with your recovery. The Rice method is being disproven time and time again, over and over and over again. But it may still have tangible benefits to you. Don't think that it doesn't. The mental health benefits might like be more than beneficial for individuals. So that might take the cake. And then in addition to that, I do think that there's some other like goal setting around cold immersion therapy. There are the activation of like cold shock proteins as well. So from a metabolic health standpoint, there could be some benefits there. It will not increase your recovery. And then once again, for bodybuilders or people that are trying to bodybuild, add muscle, it will potentially blunt your growth. So that is something that like I hope that people understand when they do these kind of things. There are some niche examples why strength folks will want to do that. For example, if they don't want to increase the rate of if their recovery is fine, but they don't want to increase the amount of muscle on their frame so they can stay in a certain weight class, then they might use cold immersion therapy, for example, to be able to blunt that hypertrophic response. But that is one thing that I think is quite misunderstood, and I could be wrong, but it does appear that that like ice as a modality for recovery is not as strong as it was initially like purported to. And you can look this up on Google Scholar. You can look it up like any reputable source. Even the person that came up with the Rice method, they've now like recanted that and said that like, okay, at the time we believe that this was an effective modality for recovery. It's no longer the case. And once again, like refer back to Aaron Horschig, who's a physical therapist and is like kind of a leading voice in this camp to try to like push more people away from the use of ice, because it could potentially delay the recovery process for a sports injury, for example. But I just wanted to get that out there because I hear a lot of people say like the word recovery, and like it kind of depends on what you mean. If you think that it's going to speed up like the recovery of your muscles, like that doesn't appear to be the case.
It's another marketing scheme to buy a $700 ice barrel, which you could literally get a whiskey barrel, clean it for like $100, and then put ice in it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, it's not to say that there's not tangible benefits. There absolutely are. Like the mental health benefits are absolutely massive, especially now with like everything that's going on in the world and the country. Like I think a lot of people could use that kind of thing. But I don't want people to be misled too, to think that like, hey, it takes me 3 days in general to recover from this bench press workout. I want to increase my bench press in off season, and then they find like, man, I can't increase my bench, and like I'm benching like fourth day or whatnot. I'm adding in this like cold immersion therapy. Like I don't know what's going on. That could be like one of the things that's affecting your recovery.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I love all of this, buddy. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to both our YouTube channels, Roman Long and Antoine Coletta. We're on TikTok now, so follow that channel, as well as let us know if you want to see anything else. And we're on all audio and video platforms. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.